I'm Charlie Bright of Gold Derby, and today I'm speaking with Peter Browngardt, the director of the film The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, as part of our Meet the Experts film animation panel. First thing I want to ask you is, working with the Looney Tunes characters is, incredible. They're so well established for so many people. Is it tough making a movie with characters that are already so well established in people's minds?
Yeah, especially with taking those characters and putting them into a larger story, a 90-minute story, where it's just not jokes the whole time. You had to sort of add some emotional story to Porky and Daffy, the stars of our film, so an audience can invest in it for that amount of time. So you're trying to honor their personalities and who these characters are from the past, but also trying to expand them so they can sort of hold up uh, the storytelling of 90 minutes.
So I'm curious. I'm sure this is a pretty simple question for you, but what have the Looney Tunes cartoons meant to you over the years, and what were some of your favorites growing up?
Well, they meant a lot. They was, sort of formed me as an entertainer and an animation artist. They are the greatest animated comedy shorts ever made. Maybe Tex Avery, MGM are up there too, but he helped create the Looney Tunes, so I've sort of put them kind of in a grouping together. Some of my favorites. That's I mean, there's something special about all of them in a weird way. There's over 1,000 of the classic shorts, but some of my favorites would be probably Buccaneer Bugs is a first feeling cartoon. I love that cartoon. I love a lot of the early Clampets. I love Piggy Bank Robbery. I love Falling Hair, which is a war cartoon that Clampett did with the Gremlin, Bugs Bunny versus the Gremlin. But yeah, it's a tough one. I love Duck Dodgers. Yeah, so there's so many to love.
So I'm curious as to what made you want to tell a buddy story with Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, because at least from what I remember, those were two characters that you didn't really see together that often, or maybe I'm not remembering the right ones. And if so, please, and if I'm getting that wrong, please correct me on that. But what made you want to tell a buddy story with those two characters?
Well, they did start off as a buddy. I mean, Porky was invented first or created first, but then they were in the 30s black and white shorts, a lot done by a lot by Clampett and other directors. They were sort of teamed up. They lived together, so that's one reason. But also, they still continue to be a buddy in a lot of the Chuck Jones, like Duck Dodgers, The Deuce You Say, Rocket Squad, and one of the main reasons why we pick them, because I'm sure the studio definitely would prefer a Bugs Bunny feature or a Tweety Bird or a Taz because they sell more merchandise, but is because they are sort of they're non-average. Some of the only, if not the only, actually there's some few others, but non-adversarial characters. They don't want to kill each other. They don't want to blow each other's brains out or eat each other. So it makes it a little bit easier to tell this larger story with it. And also they've been, like I mentioned before, they were in a lot of genre cartoons like Duck Dodgers and The Deuce You Say and stuff, which is nice to sort of team it in, put it into a sort of a B movie genre, which the movie is sci-fi.
I'm curious as to with the person who did, because I can't remember his name, but the person who does the voice of both Daffy and Porky. What was his name again?
It's Eric Bauza.
He'd been doing those voices for a while now, correct? And did that just?
Well, I casted him first for Bugs and Daffy and some others. He was playing Marvin the Martian prior to that, and a few other Looney Tunes characters. But the sort of big stars were cast, where other actors were playing them. But yeah, we just did an open call, and the only person who really owns the voice of those characters is Mel Blanc, who's no longer with us. So finding the sort of right one for my taste level of what I like in the sound of the characters is sort of what we went after.
What are some of those things that you were looking for in there that you were trying to hear for with the when auditioning those voices?
Someone who just doesn't do an impersonation of it, but can actually act in the voice, and someone who has the vocal range to go out of the voice, like Mel Blanc did for comedy reasons. That's sort of the big things.
Um, One of the other of fun voices you have in here is the great Peter McNichol, because I firmly believe that no one has a demented yell like Peter McNichol. I think he has a voice, he has a category all his own on there. And I'm curious, what was it like working with Peter McNichol and getting that kind of performance out of him?
It was really fun. He's an amazing character actor, performer. He's actually an animation fan too. He's an animation art collector. We found out while we were working with him, which was really cool. So he sort of got the medium, or got the what to do, how to sort of rise, bring your performance up to animation kind of performing, for at least especially for Looney Tunes. But yeah, he was great. The way we do it is we write the movie. Well, there was a script for the movie, but so much of the movie is written in the storyboard stage of the process, get rewritten and rewritten and rewritten. So I pitched the boards to the actors before they perform, and so it was fun to sort of. So he had a visual of like some visual cues of how to take the performance, and then sometimes he would just go off and do his thing, and we found wonderful things in those takes as well.
What was what was it like introducing a love interest for Porky with Petunia? What was that like writing that storyline?
It was fun. She was a fun character sort of to evolve, or not reinvent, but sort of do our take with. There's definitely, there's old cartoons or classic Looney Tunes shorts where they have a relationship and there's a romance there. So we sort of went off of that. But yeah, it was fun to sort of see that through the movie, and see how her involvement with the duo of Porky and Daffy sort of helped them learn something about themselves and each other, and solve sort of the problem of the problems in the film.
Well, I think one of the other really distinctive things about the film is, or at least when I was watching the film and I saw there were 11 credited writers
Yeah.
on there. I'm just curious as to, could you describe how that worked? Because I'm pretty sure, I'm guessing you all just weren't, all 11 of you were not in a room at the same time the whole time, just doing everything there. But I was just curious if you could describe how there were 11 and how that exactly worked in terms of producing the screenplay.
Yeah. So there's only one writer wrote a screenplay. So there's only one writer. That was Kevin Costello wrote a screenplay, and that was sort of a very basic blueprint of what the film is. And storyboard artists are writers. In animation, that's what we do. We write and we draw. We write the dialogue. We write the jokes. And it was very important to me, and I fought very hard against the studio, who usually don't want to credit storyboard artists as writers on films, for a lot of different reasons. And I was very grateful that they, because I did that on all my projects. I fight for the storyboard artists to get writing credit on it, because they are writing. Picture speaks 1,000 words, but not only that, we do write words. We write the dialogue, we rewrite it, we rewrite it. And animated movie is never made in a script. You compare a script to what the animated film is. Pick anyone. Maybe even Iron Giant, which Brad Bird wrote himself, right? Even if it is somewhat a writer-director kind of situation, it evolves so much and gets rewritten so much. So it's very important to me. Steve Hillenburg did it for the SpongeBob movie, and won that against the studio, one that had that win against Paramount to get credit for his storyboard artists to be writers. But that's what it is. All of them, and we were all in a room. We did the movie over the pandemic. So we were on a room like this. We were in a Zoom room, and we wrote, and we would sometimes pair off and divide up, but everybody was always on these story calls, and we would discuss the film and talk through each moment. Yeah, so that's why there's so many writers, because there was.
Peter, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you all the best over the next couple of months, and we look forward to seeing you on our panel in just a little bit.
Great. Thanks so much.